and arrow. Other details emerging as well include claims that the lion took 40 hours to die.
Well, with us this morning, Dominic Dyer from the Born Free Foundation. Good morning to you, Dominic. It'll come as a surprise to a lot of people that actually you're allowed to shoot anything like that legally in Africa.
Well, yes, there's many people that do travel to Africa and many African countries, Zimbabwe, Botswana, South Africa, all of whom allow permits to hunt animals, endangered animals, elephants, rhinos, lions, jaguars. And that might shock people, but there's lots of money being generated by that business.
And money that presumably the countries feel that they need.
Some would justify that, to say that it would help. There's little real good evidence to say that hunting animals in this way actually helps to protect the environment or local communities. On average, across Africa, maybe the whole hunting industry brings in about $200 million. If you look at an economy like Kenya, the wildlife tourism industry alone brings over $1 billion. So there's far more money to be brought in a much more positive way from tourism than killing animals.
And in this particular circumstance, it was absolutely the wrong lion to take.
Yes, there's nothing right about this situation. It was a national park, so he shouldn't have been able to go in there at night and kill any animal without a permit. They actually lured the animal out by baiting a vehicle. They shot it with a bow, didn't kill it, and as you said, 40 hours to track it down and shoot it. And it was a tracked radio-collared animal as part of a research project from the University of Oxford, so that was also something that would have given it protection. So the whole thing is very, very bad in that sense, and that's why the Zimbabwe authorities are taking action.
Yes, and so this lion is lost. I understand as well that he had cubs, and that may have an impact on them too.
Yes, there's two dominant males in this particular area, so the other dominant male that survives will probably kill the cubs at Cecil. That's just going to happen, and that's a tragedy in itself as well.
The American dentist who shot him did it with a bow and arrow. Is there a lot of that sort of thing going on? It doesn't seem a particularly humane way of...
It's a common hunting practice. Hunters in North America particularly use bows. They say you can get very close to the animals. They will hunt polar bears like this, so not just lions. And it's something that's becoming more common in Africa. We're also seeing new canned hunting operations established in South Africa, for example.
Canned hunting?
Yeah, this is where you farm lions, and there's about 150 operations in South Africa now, over 5,000 lions being bred in very intensive, cruel circumstances, which brings the cost down. It becomes cheaper, and then more people can come in and do it. So we're very worried about that business as well.
OK, so what, from your point of view, would be the best ways of trying to stop what seems to be an industry in some ways?
You firstly have to recognise that lions are under real pressure. We recognise now that obviously elephants and rhinos are in real trouble. We lost about 35,000 elephants in Africa last year, about one every 15 minutes. But if you look at lions, we had about 80,000 lions in 1980. We have less than 25,000 today. They're only in 23% of the territory they used to inhabit. We cannot go on this way. There's no justification for trophy hunting of lions. We need to see steps in America, steps in Europe to stop the import licenses that are given to these hunters to bring these trophies back. We are beginning to see that happen, and I think this case of Cecil will help in that sense.
It's not just lions, of course. This particular dentist has put photos up of himself on the web with a dead leopard that he shot.
Yes, and he's not alone. You know, it's an American dentist, and some people say, well, it's American hunters, they do this. But there's well-established British figures that do it. Sir David Scholey, former governor of the BBC, has been highly criticised for killing lions and other animals in Africa. So, you know, this happens. People do go and spend their money in this way. We've got to bring in regulations and controls to stop it.
And you're quite clear, so this was an illegal hunt that this particular lion was killed in. What about sort of, you know, pressure on those legal hunts? I mean, can there be pressure brought to change that as well?
You can bring in tighter measures to ensure, for example, that you can't go into a national park like this and break the rules. But Zimbabwe is a very difficult country. It's pretty much a broken country in terms of how it operates politically and economically. Corruption is rife. The Zimbabwe government is currently selling off elephants to China at $25,000 a piece and shipping them out by air freight to put into safari-type parks in China. So they're basically cashing in on their wildlife, the Zimbabwe government. So many people don't have confidence in them being able to control what goes on in their national parks.
OK. Thanks very much for coming to talk to us this morning.
You're welcome.
It's 8:15. This is Breakfast. These are the main stories this morning. Another 1,500 migrants tried to enter the Channel Tunnel last night as ministers prepared to hold an emergency meeting to discuss the crisis in Calais. One person lost their life.
An American dentist who sparked global outrage by killing Zimbabwe's most famous lion says he deeply regrets shooting the animal, known as Cecil.
Carol's got the weather and some feathered friends, rather large looking too.
They are too. Good morning. Yes, I want you to draw your attention though to the sky.